Thank you, Amanda. Right, so thanks for tuning in, guys. It's good to see you again. This week we're going to slightly pick up where we left off. So, if you remember, we're basing our workshops at the moment on this book, The Red Tree. I know I showed you this last week. You were all here last week, weren't you? Yeah. So we've got The Red Tree, beautiful book, which I'd highly recommend. And we're basing our songwriting on this picture, which you should be fairly familiar with. Okay. And the caption, wonderful things are passing you by. Okay. So, very relevant picture for our sort of indoor days at the moment. Okay. And looking out the window and seeing what's going on outside. Okay. So, last time, just to recap a little bit what we talked about last time. Last time we were talking about putting together a chorus. And the chorus of a song, really, the most catchy part of the song, the bit that comes back again and again, is normally the same every time. And it's the bit that really, you go away singing. And it's the thing that you really remember about a song. So we worked a bit on that, and we did a little talking a little bit about writing the words, and you got some interesting ideas out of that. This week, I'd like to talk a little bit. Is my connection still okay? As you said, it was unstable. Ooh. Can you hear what I'm saying? Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. It's sort of on and off, but it hasn't stopped us hearing what you're saying. It's just frozen you visibly.
Okay.
Sometimes.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'll stop.
Let me know if it gets worse, and I'll try something different.
Will do. Okay.
Okay.
I'll go back on mute now.
Thank you. So this week I want to talk a little bit about writing a verse for a song. So that's the other section of the song, where we maybe would explore a little bit more of the story, or a little bit more development of characters or ideas within your song, before going back to the chorus each time after a verse for that catchy hook. So we want to talk a little bit about doing the verse, how I sort of approach doing the words, and today I also want to tackle the subject of chords or accompaniment and what you play underneath your song. Okay. Which can be a little bit tricky depending on how much you know music, or how well you can play an instrument or anything like that. So it depends on the person, but we're gonna have a good go. And just remember, the most important thing for me when writing a song, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Okay, so I'm going to suggest some things, and we're going to try some ideas. But that's not the only way to do it, and it's not the right way to do it. You can explore lots of different ways of doing these things. So, okay, so the verse. So what I'm aiming for today is for us to start writing some words for the verse, as I mentioned. And what I want you to do when you start thinking about writing your verse for your song, if you've still got your chorus, that's brilliant, but you can add to it now with your verses. And what we want to do is we want to start trying to explore a bit more of a story of what's going on in this scene. Okay. Now I'm not going to give you all the answers here, because I want you to sort of find some of these answers yourself. But I'll give you some of my thoughts. Okay, so who is this girl? Is she in this? Where is she actually? Is she in a house? Is she in a tower? Is she in a castle or a palace? We don't actually know. You can see like a brick wall, but we don't actually know where this is. So you could have a think about that. That might be a nice idea to explore. You could also think, well, is she on her own? Or is there anybody else with her? You know, who else is in this castle or house or wherever she is? Factory? It could be a factory or something. We just so these are just kind of story ideas that if you think about, put them in your song, but you can start really. Oh, you all paused then. Have you still got me?
You're in and out slightly,
Ah.
but don't worry.
Okay, I'm just gonna try this, Amanda. Sorry,
Okay.
guys. Internet problems these days.
I know there's
Uh,
too many people using them.
you may lose me for a second.
Okay. Any good?
Have you still got me?
Yeah, still there.
Is it any better?
Um, I think we have to test it out.
Okay,
Yeah.
just let me know.
Okay.
Let me know. Okay, so I was just saying about exploring the story a little bit. Where she is, what type of building is this that she's in? Who is she? Who's she with? As I say, I'm not giving you the answers, but I just want you to start thinking a little bit about the story so that you could start to develop some of these ideas in your verses. Okay? So, you know, if you've got any ideas, jot them down. You know, if you like the idea that this is a factory, or you like the idea that this is a palace, or anything, you know, just get those words written down on paper so that you can start to think about a story to do with that. Okay. So that's the sort of first step I would do when I'm trying to develop the verse, because we've got to put some content in there. And by that I mean, in general, for me, a verse has more words in it. Not all the time, but in general. So I'm trying to develop the story a little bit and move the song along when I'm singing my words in the verse. Okay, I'm gonna just. I think what I might do now. I'm gonna sing what I've written today. I wrote this today, and what I've done is I've taken my chorus from last week, and I've completely changed it, and I've kept a couple of words, and I've changed the style. I've changed everything because that's part of the process. Things change, and I've come up with some words for my verses as well. My song has gone a little bit more folk song style. We'll talk about style in a minute, but I'll play this to you and see what you think. Just to maybe give you some ideas of what you can do with a verse. Okay. How many days has it been? Watching and waiting for a change, missing things you've never seen, and everything feels so strange. Locked inside your own regret, wasted chances, wasted time, hoping that you don't forget. The world is so sublime. Look out the window, see the birds and butterflies flying through the sky, slowly passing you by. Look out the window, see the moon and pretty clouds flying through the sky, slowly passing you by. The outside light is shining through, a promise of a sudden change, a sense of renewal in you, no longer feel so strange. Unlock the past and your regret, take a chance and waste no time, learn to forgive and to forget, because the world is so sublime. Open up the window, see the birds and butterflies flying through the sky, don't let them pass you by. Open up the window, see the sky. Don't let them pass you by. Okay, hopefully you could hear that okay. Is that alright? You could hear that alright? Now, I want to play you all of that to demonstrate a next little songwriting idea that I love to put in my songs. And it's to do with development throughout the song. Okay. So, in my first verse, I said I was talking about being stuck indoors, and a little bit to do with the situation we're in at the moment. I said, how many days has it been watching and waiting for a change, missing the things you've never seen, and everything feels so strange. Locked inside your own regret, which was a reference to this padlock which has regret written on it. Wasted chances and wasted time, hoping that you don't forget that the world is so sublime. Okay, that was my first verse, and it's a little bit sad. I've got a bit of a story going on there that things aren't so great, and there's a lot of sad feelings and regretful feelings and longing going on in that verse, and that's my overall sentiment that I'm trying to get over in that verse. But then what I've done in my second verse is I've echoed some of those same ideas but with a more uplifting feel. So I've used a lot of the same words at the end of my lines, but I've changed the meaning. So I said, the outside light is shining through, a promise of a sudden change. So I've used, instead of waiting for a change, now there's a promise of a sudden change. A sense of renewal in you, and no longer feels so strange, because before everything felt so strange. So I've changed it. Instead of before where I said, locked inside your own regret, now I'm saying, unlock the past and your regret. Before I said wasted chances and wasted time, and now I'm saying take a chance and waste no time. Before I said hoping that you don't forget that the world is so sublime, and now I'm saying learn to forgive and to forget because the world is so sublime, or because the world is too sublime. So that's one little writing device that pleases me if I can squeeze it in a song, because what I'm doing is there's a journey, and that's what I really want you to try and get across in your verses. I'm going to run out of time before I even get onto things like rhyming structures, where I've rhymed line 1 with line 3, and I've rhymed line 2 with line 4 in every 4 lines of my song in the verses. So these 2 lines would rhyme and these 2 lines would rhyme, but all those things don't really matter as much as the story to me. And I like my song to have a story and a journey, and I think that's really important for theatre as well. If you're writing songs for theatre, theatre is story driven, and if you can also help that story develop, or the characters develop, or the character's story move on throughout the song, so there's a personal journey, or there's some discovery or enlightenment that can happen throughout the song, then it's satisfying by the time we get to the end of the song. It's okay to have some trouble or struggle or adversity, but it's nice to overcome it with something a little bit more lifting. And actually, I broke a little rule in my song. I used a bit of artistic license, and I changed my chorus as well. So in the first, I don't know if did you notice? Thumbs up if you noticed. Okay, first chorus I said, look out the window, see the birds and butterflies flying through the sky, slowly passing you by. Look out the window, blah de blah de blah, flying through the sky, slowly passing you by. In the second chorus I said, open up the window and see those things, and they're flying through the sky, but don't let them pass you by. Open up the window. They're flying through the sky, but don't let them pass you by. So as a call to arms, it's sort of saying, let's not miss out on all these wonderful things that are passing us by. Let's embrace them. Okay, so that's my idea in my song. So you don't have to do that, and your song could have a totally different story to mine, and that's great. But some development throughout is really nice if you can squeeze that in there. Okay, I wanted to talk about chords today, and I've left myself hardly any time. So we're going to move on now. Okay, I'm going to break this down into 5 levels. Okay, so level 1, if you've sort of got words and a tune going, level 1 is I want you to try and sing a bass line. Okay, and it can just be like 4 notes. It doesn't matter what 4 notes, but level 1 would be able to sing a bass line, even if you just sing it in your head. What is a bass line? It's the really low bit that sits underneath all the chords and all the music, and it anchors everything on top. So my bass line for my verse would be this type of thing, okay? So my tune over top and the bass line underneath. So my bass line, if I was singing it, would be dum 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 dum. You don't have to use the word dumb, you can use any word you like. Okay, so that would be singing the bass line if you can't play an instrument or you can't write out music or anything, but that would sort of be one step to try and think of a bass line that could go under your tune. The next step would be to write that out if you know how to write music, or you know what notes you are singing, or you can figure that out if you've got a piano or something to figure out what those notes are. Is to write those out, even if you just write the letters, or if you write it out in music notation, brilliant. Another step, so there's two ways of sort of writing, figuring that out. Another step would be to play it on an instrument, so that's like I did there. It can just be as simple as 1 note bass line like this. And you could play this on piano, flute, violin, whatever it is you like to play. Okay, and then if you can, so you're still thinking about your words and your tune over the top of that bass line. That's the key. Trying to fit it all together. If you know about chords, then you can build your chords on top of that. So you've got this bass line. Now you're just going to use that bass line as your anchor note for each chord. So my first bass note was a C, for example, so I'm going to put a C chord on top. My next bass note was a D, so I'm going to put a D chord on top, etc, etc, okay? And that you can just keep that nice and simple for now. And if you know more about chords, you can choose whether you want a happy sounding chord, major chord, or whether you want a minor chord, a sad sounding chord, okay? So there's kind of like five or so steps to that. It's being able to hear or sing a bass line in your head, and being able to write it out or write down what that is so you don't forget it, basically. Being able to play it on an instrument, and being able to build chords on top of that, and being able to choose whether they are major or minor. Some songs only have 2 chords in them, and I mean the same 2 chords for the whole verse and the whole chorus, so it doesn't have to be complicated, but you just have to settle on something that you like and that works with your tune. Now, just the last little food for thought. How you play those chords makes a huge difference to your song. It can really affect how you sing it. So I played mine in a very folky way. But what if I wanted it to be a rock song? I could play the same thing. How many days has it been? Watching and waiting for a change, missing the things you've never seen. Everything feels so strange. Look out the window, see the birds and butterflies. I don't think think a rock song would normally say birds and butterflies. But anyway, but you know, or it could just be really upbeat, happy. How many days has it been? Watching and waiting for a change. Missing things you've never seen. Okay, so all of a sudden, I haven't even changed the chords. I didn't even use different chords there, and that bass line would have still worked. But I've changed the feel by how I'm playing those chords. Am I going to play them upbeat or down tempo? I'm going to make it into a ballad if I want something soft and sad or something like that. Okay, and that's where we start to get into the style and genre of the song. So, and so you can make it jazzy, poppy, rock, folky, whatever you like, but you can play around with it with the chords that you've come up with. Okay, so my time is always flying away on these things, and I'm gonna recap now, and I hope this has been interesting for you guys. But okay, so the chorus generally the same throughout a song, and it's sort of like summarizes the whole story of your song, okay? And it's got to be catchy, really catchy. But that verse is where you can start to build in some development of this story, okay? Get more words in there. Try and do as much rhyming as you can to make it interesting, okay? And if you can, do my idea of echoing something that happened in one verse, but changing it slightly so that there's progression within the story and the characters or whatever, then that's brilliant to me. That's really fantastic because it's familiar, but it's moved on. And chords wise, if you're struggling to put chords to things, just start with simple bass line. You can just sing it or play it on any instrument you've got, and then you can think about building chords up on that afterwards if you can. And if not, you can just play a bass line underneath your song. Get somebody to play the bass line, you sing it over the top, you know, something like that, and you'll have a song before you know it, okay? So I hope that gives you some ideas of things that I like to put into songs. There's plenty of other ideas out there, so happy exploring, and hope you come up with something cool, and I look forward to hearing some of your ideas. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, Jamie, I'm just going to pin me. Jamie, thank you very much. That was really, really lovely.
Pleasure.
I hope you're going to be able to remember that song, because it might have to have something like that in the play. So keep hold of that.
Okay, I'll keep hold of today's work.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So that was a really lovely session, Jamie. And just before we go, I'm hoping that you might come up with something, even if it's the words to a song that we can have a look at. Because everything we're doing as part of these sessions, we want to be able to use to help us create our next show, which is going to be a version of The Red Tree by Sean Tan. So if you've come up with any great lyrics or any great tunes that Rosie and Jamie can have a listen to or have a read of, would you be able to send them to calmandcreative@redearththeatre.com? So that's an email address, calmandcreative@redearththeatre.com. And we're just hoping to be able to get together all the things that we've got already. We've got lots and lots of pictures that have been sent in. We've already got lots of different musical tracks. So if you've got anything to add to that, do send it to us by email and let us know what you think and what you created. So Jamie, I'm really sorry that's the last session we're going to see of you, but we will see Rosie later on.
Yeah.
And we hope that everybody's enjoyed it. So just before we go, I hope you all stay well and stay safe.